I'm filming this again because the first time I had like 45 minutes of footage. There's no way I'm gonna narrow that down to 10 minutes, so let's do this. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a very long wrap up. Oh, and before I get started, I'm sorry if I sound a little bit nasally. I'm still recovering from a pretty bad cold, so my voice is probably gonna sound like this throughout the next couple of videos. But anyway, so I'm gonna get started and share my thoughts on some of the books that I have read for the past couple of months. So first, I'm gonna start out with Colleen Hoover. I read 2 of her books. The first one is Maybe Someday. I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. If you don't know what this is about, basically it is about this girl named Sydney who discovers one day that her boyfriend is cheating on her with her best friend slash roommate, and she is forced to move out and live with a neighbor, and romance happens, of course, because this is the new adult romance book. I will say though, I did have some issues with this book. I did find it a bit problematic, to say the least, and I really did struggle trying to level out like my rating for like enjoyment with like my critical kind of rating, because spoiler alert, skip to this part if you don't want to know what goes on in this book. Basically, the main love interest in this is someone with a girlfriend, and he finds himself falling in love with Sydney, who is not his girlfriend. I had an issue with that. Yeah, I definitely don't recommend it if like cheating is something that you don't like, because even though it did make me think, I still was very conflicted, I'm not gonna lie. But it was fun. I definitely see why people like Colleen Hoover. I'm definitely happy that I read this first, because if I had read the other book, which I'm going to talk about right now, the second book that I read by Colleen Hoover is Confess, and I did not like this. I think I ended up giving it like a 2-star. I didn't like this. I had a lot of problems with it. Okay, well first let me tell you guys what it's about, and then I'll go on my rant. This is about a girl named Auburn. Yeah, Auburn. Moves to Austin or somewhere in Texas and is trying to kind of like make a new life for herself. And she ends up finding a job, which, by the way, so much shit in this book is so not believable or like a little bit too convenient for me, and that was one of the things. Like, the way she found that job was too fucking ridiculous, even given the circumstances. But anyway, she finds a job in this art studio, and she ends up kind of getting attracted to the artist at this art studio. However, there's a lot of hidden secrets and things that both of them are hiding from each other, and it's just, honestly, I had a lot of problems with this book, but I feel like the biggest problem that I had with it was the romance. It felt very one-sided and not very real. Again, spoiler, skip to this part if you don't want to know about it, but the main love interest in this basically fell in love with her way before he even talked to her. He fell in love with her by listening to conversations she had with her now dead ex-boyfriend. So I was not a fan of this romance. Her character was also incredibly passive, which I kind of get where it's coming from, because like things have been this way for her since she was very young, so I can kind of understand why her character would be the way that she is when it's been kind of ingrained in her since she was like, what, 16 I think it was, 15, 16 or whatever. But I still found it incredibly frustrating. The cop in this, I just had a lot of problems with this, honestly. I'm not a fan of it. I love the cover, but I just, no. If you want to go into Coho, I definitely recommend this one over this one. Although both of them are problematic, I can definitely see why people both love and hate these books. So far, I feel like I'm somewhere in between. The next up are 2 more kind of contemporary romances. These are YA though. On the Fence by Kasie West. Kasie West actually came to my city a little while ago, so I was trying to read a couple of her books before I went to see her. I'm pretty sure I read all of her contemporaries that are out, with the exception of The Distance Between Us. I think that's the only one that I haven't read yet. This I really enjoyed. It's about a 16-year-old named Charlie who is being raised by her single dad and her brothers. In long story short, she kind of ends up falling for her brother's best friend slash her neighbor. I definitely enjoyed this one more than the Film Boyfriend. I definitely like the family aspects that were written in here. I do wish that they were expanded on a little bit more. I did feel like certain things were a little bit too convenient towards the end. Overall, really fluffy, sweet, contemporary. Definitely recommend Kasie West books if you're a fan of like Morgan Matson or Stephanie Perkins. I think I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Next up is another Kasie West book. This one is definitely my favorite though. It is P.S. I Like You. This is about a girl named Lily, right? Yes, her name is Lily, who one day in her chemistry class, she's kind of dozing off and she decides to write the lyrics of one of her favorite songs on her desk. And the next day, she finds that someone actually continued on the lyrics. And through this, her and this person end up having this kind of pen pal relationship. It's just really, really sweet. I really, really enjoyed it. So I ended up giving like a 5 out of 5 stars. I don't really know what else to say about this. I just highly recommend it if you're looking for something that's very kind of fluffy, romantic, and sweet. This one's gonna be kind of my shame. Remember how I had that Harry Potter read-along thing over the summer that didn't really happen because I suck? Well, I did read one Harry Potter book, and it was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It was the only book that I read. But anyway, I don't feel like I really need to say much about this. You guys know my feelings for Harry Potter. Next book is a book that I actually bought from my library because I was kind of stuck about what to read, and I decided to just go on my Overdrive account and borrow the first YA contemporary romance that was available, and this was it. Playing the Player by Lisa Brown Roberts. It is about this girl who is the ultimate responsible valedictorian who gets stuck taking a babysitting job with the least responsible guy at school who she so happens to hate, and yet through the summer they find out they have feelings for each other. I mean, it's kind of cliche, but I enjoyed it. It really reminded me of a feel-good made-for-TV movie. Like, it's not necessarily the deepest, most complicated storyline. It has some problematic aspects and some problematic tropes in there, but overall it was fun and it helped pass the time. And I think I ended up giving it like a 3 out of 5 stars. It was sweet, but honestly, if I had to recommend a YA contemporary romance, it'd be this one. And now for the manga. The first one was The Black Devil and the White Prince, I think is what the English title is. I started reading this because I found the movie on YouTube and I realized that it was a live adaptation of a manga, so I really wanted to try to read at least the first couple of volumes before I watched the movie so I could have a little bit more of the backstory. It was alright. I was not a huge fan of the relationship. I think the highest rating I gave this was a 4, and that was only for the first volume, and then from there on out it just kind of fizzled out and I didn't finish it. The movie, however, oh my god, do I have problems with the movie. I couldn't even finish watching it. It pissed me off. The main guy, I don't even remember his name, his attitude was already super not okay in the manga. They played it up even more in the movie. He actually pulled her hair at one point in the movie, and nope. That's where I drew the line. I was like, nope, I'm not gonna be able to watch this. I'm not gonna be able to finish this, and I didn't end up finishing it. And I ended up giving up on the movie and on the rest of the manga. I think I ended up reading like 5 volumes of it, and yeah, I definitely don't see myself reading any more of them. The next one that I read was Good Morning, and this one was actually a reread from, I'm pretty sure I read this like at least twice in high school, and the reason why I reread it is because I found out that they actually made a live action drama, and I really wanted to watch a live action drama, but I wanted to kind of refresh my memory on the manga, and I ended up reading 8 volumes, I believe it was. I really liked it. I think it's really sweet. I did start watching the drama. I think I'm like on the 2nd episode right now, and I like it. I do like how they kind of modernize certain things because this manga was published in like the mid to late 90s, I believe. So for some of the things they definitely modernized some stuff and they made a couple of changes, but I do recommend that one. It's sweet, it's cute. I've been reading a lot of like sweet fluffy contemporary these past few months. That's just what I need in my life right now. I'm fine with it. Last but not least, I read 2 volumes of Love So Life. It was okay. It's about this 16-year-old girl who ends up becoming the babysitter for these twins who live with their uncle after they were abandoned by their dad. The problem that I had with this one, even though it is kind of sweet, well, one, it started getting really repetitive really fast, and two, I just couldn't get over the fact that like this 26-year-old guy who was supposedly already super successful and like a TV news anchor was kind of falling in love with a 16-year-old girl. I couldn't get past that. I only read 2 volumes. I'm not gonna finish reading it. Last but not least, I read 2 short stories, I guess you could say. The first one is a reread of one of my favorite Hans Christian Andersen stories, and it is The Little Match Girl. It's so heartbreaking and so sweet, and just honestly, it's super short. If you have not read it yet, I'll have it linked down below. Then another thing that I read / watched is We Should All Be Feminists. Again, favorite all time. I hit a bit of a low point kind of a couple of weeks ago, and I really needed some empowerment, and this TED Talk / booklet, I don't know what you call it, is one of like my empowering tools, I guess. If you have not watched this, I'll have her TED Talk linked down below, as well as her what's it called, The Dangers of a Single Story TED Talk. Amazing. I love them so much. If you have not listened to either of those, I honestly cannot recommend them enough. I'll have them linked down below for you guys. I really want to finally read some of her actual novels. So if you guys have any recommendations, I did watch Rosianna's and Max's videos, which I'll have linked for you guys to check out as well. And I think I want to start out with her short story collection, which is the Thing Around Your Neck, I believe is what it's called. Just because I feel like that may be a good point to start. Definitely want to try to read at least one full length novel from her, because she is such an amazing woman and she's so inspiring and so eloquent, and I love her, and I really need to read one of her books. Okay, but that is it, guys. Those are all of the books that I've read for the past few months. That is going to be it for this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.